Watch how investigating the cost of repairs between the colors of tractors turned into revealing a modern 21st century plot to keep you from farming without the big guys getting their take. Come with me as we go down the rabbit hole of how Big Tractor is making you pay more at the grocery store and how they lobby with big money to make sure you can't. All right, folks, get you some Jesus in your life as I take 10 seconds for salvation from my Lord and Savior. All right, let's go. All right, so before I jump in, there is a lot of new people. I mean, 98% of you viewers unsubscribed. If you'd reach down there and touch that button, it would mean the world to this channel. It'll take very little of your time and it'll cost you nothing. I'm just saying. If you'd please do it, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right. So, a caveat. This isn't what I usually do. If you'll have a look, you'll see. I don't usually make content like this, but I'm going to be honest. I thought I was just going to investigate the caveats in working on the color of tractor and maybe which one you should pick or avoid. Instead, what I found is very different indeed, and intimidating and scary whenever I look at the long term future of farming and ranching on our planet. It's sobering. With that said, this has been a very difficult video to produce, and it has taken more than a year to even figure out how to format it. And then there's both personal biases that I would face from others, since the color of the tractor that of their choosing may have been decided during childhood. And it goes that deep for some. Others just want something that is simple, you know? They don't want to have to go through a bunch, and they don't have any childhood ties to the color of their tractor. What I found when I dove into all of this was much more complicated than just which brands to buy based on long term cost. And you'll see examples popping up here on the screen of the research I've done. All the links will be provided so that you can see what got me to this. And with that said, here we go. Um, there's a hidden aspect, and it's not so secret, but the companies are not the same that sold your grandpa a Poppin' Johnny or a Jubilee all those years ago. There's a lot of tracker clubs. You guys know who you are. And I get it. Y'all were into all of this at a time where these companies gave back, or at least it appeared like they did, give some semblance of what they were doing, and understood what part they stood in the community with it. But being a fanboy today, and I mean this in every single aspect, when it comes to dealing with corporations, they don't care. Okay, being a fanboy only costing you money because these companies hold zero loyalty to you at all. And I mean, if we're talking about automobile manufacturers, I am GM's biggest fan, but I'll make no excuses for their failures. You know, I like their styling points, but there's places where Ford and Dodge does better. I don't like the way Ford looks or Dodge on a lot of vehicles. So, you know, With that said, a long time ago, certain brands were thought to be there for the farmer or rancher and made sure their brand was both rugged enough to perform each and every day and affordable enough to maintain that their brands even had silly slogans like running as forest creatures. I'm not saying it for you. It's not an advertisement. That's the problem. Since the 21st century, this has dramatically changed. That said, we are seeing the prices go up while availability steadily is going down, especially where proprietary tools or software access keep you from even being able to repair the unit in a timely fashion. And there's a lot of manufacturers. Look, the two that are listed right now on the Right to Repair Act that most people think of most commonly are John Deere and Tesla. Yeah, they're both horrible at this. Okay. And an example of that, in fact, the example that you're going to want to see is playing right now just behind me. This video that continues to play is a prime example. The link will be in the description below. There's also several shorts where I discuss it and the full video. So there is plenty of source material. Please check it out down below. You're witnessing the cost rise as much as 40%. All right. And that's as of February of 24 of this year, as per that article, it's here somewhere, has it listed. Okay. Over the last 4 years since 2020. And we all know where and what and how and what's been going on since. Okay. I recently worked on the John Deere, and that's the video you're seeing play behind us, where getting the tool from John Deere would have taken 3 months, and the rancher would have lost the opportunity to maintain his cattle during that time since it deployed hay, among other tasks he used it for. I mean, if he would have been farming, he would have lost a planting window and missed a crop. These sort of things can cost farmers and ranchers their vitality, and maybe even their farm or ranch. It may keep their grant their it may stop their children from attaining that piece of property. You don't know. And the other thing is that food showing up to your table? No, no. It's more of a missed opportunity for us all. And if you know with that being said, aren't we seeing a lot of these sort of things? Huh? I mean, I'll see if I can post a few articles here. We'll do what we can. These mishaps can cost farms and ranches their livelihood and possibly even cost a farm or ranch. Think I'm exaggerating? It's become such an issue that people are having to resort to hacking the newer era of tractors to even keep rolling. You watching this video are seeing enormous cost increases on the shelf. Come on, y'all know it, and this is why it's not all inflation, but it also it's added costs of just basic stuff. All right, oil, diesel, filters, and many of these supplies. You know what? Let me just stick to the script. Yep, I got one. I don't usually, but I had to write one for this because it was too much for a redneck like me to keep up with, and I wanted to give y'all the straight skinny. So here we go. Since 2020, the auto industry, the agricultural industry, the heavy equipment industry, as well as all your industrial equipment has faced parts shortages, and the industry as a whole has clearly and distinctly made a conscious decision to make certain items in limited capacity. We were all taught supply and demand. Thank you very much. In like the third grade. So I don't know what you're trying to accommodate, but it sounds like you're Well, you're trying to put the old screws to us a little bit. You're trying to, you know, get in the piggy bank. We get that. But this limit, of course, causes the price to go up while they have made some of these items basically unattainium. You're not getting it now, and you may not get it ever. Uh, so this fight is costing every single family in America, and I don't care if you're just one person sitting in your apartment trying to scrape together what you can these days with everything being so high and just trying to eat nothing but ramen. Everybody in America is struggling, and the issue is much larger than a single tractor or its color. We all have to eat. And the fact is, everyone needs to join the right to repair. I think it needs to be changed. And I think that every single American that eats should get into it. You see, y'all need to join the right to repair to help the farmers and ranchers because honestly, these people don't know. They don't know. They don't know. And they don't have time. Do you want them farming and ranching, or do you want them, you know, fighting for legislation? Because you're gonna have to pick. If you got time to fight for legislation, you fight and let them farm and ranch. But let them know that you're doing it and get with them. Y'all need to all get together. All right? They need and deserve your help. Help them so they can do what matters and keep us all fed. There's a problem here, y'all. And I believe we as a common people need to fight and revise the strategy to address tooling. As my example above and that video playing right there in the background, and get serious with our local reps and take the fight to the hardworking folks that put the food on the table. I made a short about the above video and had a quote from a John Deere mechanic. I'll post this thing and addressed it, but he addresses it, but notice not one mention of the tooling. Hmm? All he was trying to do was validate the design. Oh, the design was fine, and then he wanted to take a shot at me and go, "Oh, well, there must have been a shade tree mechanic, whatever, bro. You got $1 million service truck, all right, and they provide you with every single solitary tiny little thing that you could possibly need to accommodate building those tractors. I'm sorry about the phone, y'all. Let me catch it. Oh, it's my light. It's gonna be a moment. But they provide y'all with everything to accommodate your job. People like me get it done with a third of what you got, and you got the nerve to call me a shade tree? Yeah. All right. But notice, when you go look at it, makes no mention of the tooling at all. He just sweeps that under the rug so he can take a shot at me. All right. A second commenter later, again, trying to mitigate damage, said it was a moot point and then insulted every single rancher and farmer everywhere, suggesting that they were too stupid to get it done. That really the way you want to treat the very people that you want to buy your stuff? Insult them and tell them that you're doing them a favor because they're too dumb? They keep coming to me. And people like me. There's plenty of us. All over the country, for that matter, all over the world. We've been doing this for years. This is the mentality these people are up against. And without y'all, they will lose every one of these engagements one by one with people like, well, John Deere, for example. Currently, there are attempts at an alternative for these fine folks. However, it would take years, possibly even decades, in my opinion, to get an infrastructure together that they can trust to depend on. And that's if it could ever be done in such a way and wouldn't wind up in the same shape that this one is. So, all right. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get on you greedy people's butts a little bit too. I don't just mean John Deere. I mean all you folks that think you're gonna save the world with electric. I'm gonna come at you a little. Electric tractors are not the answer. Just real quick, by the way, you gonna see a couple images in here. Full disclosure: these images are non-brand specific AI generated pictures that I produced today, using Adobe Firefly and all that, so I wouldn't get no legal woes because I cry a little bit whenever I see my stuff, showed in a way. Anyway, imagine the logistics, okay? For you folks that y'all are in this industry, you laugh, I bet, every time you think of this. Well, imagine the logistics of recharging a battery in a tractor way out in the field. Since most farmers, they take fuel to the equipment like that, all right? Especially if you're dealing with big farms, maybe they'll drive that tractor back to a big, large reservoir. Maybe I'll put a photo around here somewhere kind of showing how it's done. Or maybe they fuel, a portable tank that's in the bed of a pickup and they drive that out there and they refuel the tractor. And, you know, but imagine trying to charge the tractor out in the field. You probably had to use a generator now that I think about it. I didn't think about that before I bothered to film this, but you probably had to use a generator. What do you power that with? Hmm, I'll wait. Anybody tell Greta? Did anybody tell Greta how they had to power charging the batteries? Just saying. But anyway, yeah, just imagine the logistics of it. Trying to recharge these, battery powered tractors out in the field, you know. And these things they run sometimes from before the sun comes up to after it goes down, people. All over America, 7 days a week. These people hardly ever take a day off. Go ask a farmer or a rancher what day of the week is. He probably won't even know. He's too busy. All right? He knows what the weather's going to be. He ain't got time for all that. I'm just trying to tell you. All right? And then, think about how long does it take to refill a tractor with diesel? What? In a worst case scenario, you know, the tractor driver got some time to get out, stretch his legs for, 30, 40 minutes if he needs to walk around. I'm saying the tractor don't need that long. Maybe they got something else to do. But still, he got some time to stretch his legs, maybe go to the bathroom, switch drivers. I'm just saying. They work, folks. Electric, on the other hand, would take hours. And I won't even cover the horror show. Maybe I will. Of using this type of equipment in the cold and how cold just cause all kinds of both battery issues among many other things. And batteries, they just take a lot longer to charge. And let's not forget the fire risk. I'm just saying. And when these things, maybe I'll post a video of the one that fell in the sea and they couldn't put it out. If you got all the water and you still can't put it out, then what? Most of these fire departments give up on these electric cars and just have to let them burn out because, well, it's a chemical fire. So imagine, you know, I'm just saying, since these sort of fires can't actually be put out by any current tech, most fire departments just had to let it burn. Imagine that scenario playing out in the summer heat, open hay fields with fire departments or usually have little that they can do since usually it's typically volunteer fire departments with little access to water anyway. you know, especially in an arid environment and where wildfires are already a common threat. I mean, this can't be the solution of long term farming and ranching, the solution the world needs, especially in states like Texas, California. I mean, what are y'all thinking? This ain't gonna work. Fact is, looking at the current situation, the used pre-electronics era equipment, say anything before, really anything before 2015, especially, all right, pre-def and stuff like that. But even before that, if you get a little bit before that, get back to mechanical fuel injection. You can't beat it. I'm just trying to tell you, I love it. That's why, notice, it's right here in the name. It's right here in the name. Vintage diesel. Yeah. It's both, look, it's both cheaper to own in the long term, more easily to maintain, not to mention more safe than its 21st century siblings with their temperamentalness and their desire to throw a little electric temper tantrums to make you shake your bank account free to the big corporate monster. And that's to say, look, yeah, there are plenty of John Deere Model A's still out there running today. I mean, even today. And they might not necessarily be, out there taking care of work in the field, but they probably could if they had to be called upon to do it. Let's see how many of today's tractors will be out in the field able to do anything in 25 years with their electronics. John Deere will tell you they didn't life it. I mean, that's what I see with the situation at hand, folks. Fact is, it isn't going to get any better without y'all bothering to get involved. I'm just a mechanic, and these are my findings. And I hope it spreads like the wildfire. I'd like to prevent and help get folks like you to take action in your state with the right to repair, fought by people like you and me, you know. And then before you know it, other folks will get involved. Because right now, I mean, we need every single available American to get in on this. And what we need is access. We need access to proprietary tools in a timely fashion. I can't stress that enough. Look, having a company tell you they'll sell you a tool in 3 months, that's 2.5 months too late. I mean, this tool could have been 3D printed by them and had to you in a week. All right. But why does it benefit them to not sell you the tool? How much is their labor? If you go look the workaround in that video playing just behind you right now, or behind me right now, discuss just that. Oh, they wouldn't sell you the tool, but they'd let you come up there and pay them an hour of labor. Tool was $59. How much was their labor? So, like I say, without the right to repair fought by people like you and me, it's going to wind up in the hands of people like Bill Gates. He'll have all the farm and ranch land to himself. I'm sure that's going to work out great. Look, the fact is, people are hard at work to stop you from taking the time to listen to this message. In fact, big money is at play lobbying your favorite politician to make sure you don't even have a say in any of this. But it's time, folks. It's time to start getting involved in some of this. All right? Or you just gonna keep paying more and more and more. You can sit there and act like it don't really affect you and be that frog in the pot of water until it eventually bulls you up too. All right, folks. So back to the question at hand that stared me down this rabbit hole in the first place. Does brand even matter? Not in this regard. But maybe with you all and more content like this, it could be. Maybe there could be a manufacturer, and yeah, I mean you, John Deere, and for that matter, any other brand out there that really did want to be a part of a change in a positive way for a solution that could be a benefit and help for all of us, not just to have lower prices in the supermarket, but long term answers and solid solutions for the next generation of future farmers and ranchers in our great nation and the rest of the world. And finally, just standardize certain aspects for the benefit of mankind. And if you won't, it won't ever happen. So if you don't do something about it soon, you'll be out of time to be able to do anything about it. Speaking out of time, it's time for me to wrap this up. So if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you watching this content. Again, please take the time to think about clicking the like or the subscribe button. Get with your senators, your congressmen, and iron out a path to fix it. Because if you can't, then really farmers and ranching in the way that it has been done for so long in this country, uh, it's probably done. And having affordable mechanics, that'll probably be a thing of the past before long too. That's a sad thought. But till next time, folks, we'll see you again.